Peace, welcome everybody. Mikey Ice TV is going live with a brother named Toons. Toons 1 from Los Angeles, California. Original graffiti writer. Since this is Black History Month, we're going to be talking about all the cultural contributions that black people have done and have created to this culture. Yo, what's up, Ark? I'm trying to get you on here, brother. Let's do it. Let me know when you're free, though, Ark. History about ABC, Pretty Boy Roy, etc., etc. So just let me know, Art.
All right, go back.
All right, so let's start it all over again, brother. Can you introduce yourself and your history?
Yes. Coming to you live and direct from Art Gang Studios is the one and only Toons 1. That's TOONSONE. Representing.
Okay.
The UA and all of those above, from respect TWS, NTS, TM, USC.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that, brother. So
can't forget my brothers from TVU. That's the Black Under.
Right. So. Since we already covered like some of the things we want to talk about, I want to ask you, when was the first time that you ever seen graffiti on the wall? I can recall the first time that I ever seen it. I remember the first time, like I was telling you, I seen this character on the wall. It was a B-boy. He had a nameplate belt. He had the ski goggles, and he wrote out of his mouth, "Bite this."
Okay. Now,
and I seen it in the back of a liquor store, in back of a grocery store. But this was after I seen the movie Beach Street.
Okay. Now, for me, the first time I ever saw graffiti graffiti was, I would have to say, it was 1980.
Oh, 1980.
Yeah, 1980, and it was in Pasadena, in Altadena.
All right.
Stayed out there. And I had to actually, after a very long time of no contact with him, me and my older sister, we had the same father, and we reconnected with him, went out there to visit, and I was just walking through the streets one time, and there was this arcade. There was an arcade in the neighborhood, and so I went in, and there was this picture, on the back wall. It was they had a big back wall, and they had a picture there. And it was a Baudet. It was like Baudet character. And it was this one lizard character sitting below a woman's breasts, you know? And I remember just seeing that. And the guy at the arcade thought I was tripping on seeing the titties. But it wasn't the titty. I was just tripping on the whole thing. Like, just how did they do it? And never seen a picture like that, seen that type of artwork. You know, and I was like going up to it, man. I must have looked crazy. I must have looked like I was high as hell. Little ass kid walking in there, and then I'm looking at this picture, mesmerized, and I'm trying to figure out how it was done. You know what I mean? It looked like I was already down with art. You know, my mother was painting murals and showing me, like, exposing me to the whole mural scene in LA from the early 70s and stuff. So I knew brushwork, but I didn't know spray paint, except for gang.
Oh.
So I was just sitting there and I was like, wow, is that spray paint? And I was asking dude a million questions. He's like, man, I don't know. Some dude from New York came out here. He knows the owner and whoop-de-woo. And, they did this, he did this painting on the wall. And so I was just like, I was bugged out. And then, I was already dancing, I was in the pop locking and so forth. And I was in a crew, this stayed in Eastside Torrance. And then one of the guys from our crew, he was a B-boy from New York. And so one day he was coming to pick me up for practice, and he's drawing. At home, I used to draw. And he came up, he was like, oh, man, I didn't know you was down with art. And I was like, let me show you some of the stuff we do back in New York. And so he showed me these pictures these Polaroids. Some of them were kind of messed up, but these Polaroids of you know, graffiti on trains, and I was like, what? You know, and it brought me back to that point, you know, of the arcade, and he was breaking everything, and I like, bro, you gotta teach me how to do it, you know, and I was hooked. I just completely, like, dancing just took a back seat, and I
Oh,
wanted to do that.
oh. You know
So
what's crazy that you share that story? It was the opposite for me. It's like graffiti took a backseat and dancing spoke to me like
that's crazy.
like the most. Because in my family, you know, like everybody was watching Soul Train. Everybody was watching What's
Oh
Happening.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody was watching The Gong Show, Dance
Yep.
Fever.
Yep.
And
That's
everybody was dancing. You remember back in the day on The Gong Show, you had to do your little dance, and if they didn't like it,
and
bang.
a lot of people forget about the show, and that was the shit. That was like our Star Search before
Our BET. Yeah, The Gong Show was our
all that.
BET.
It was the Gong Show, and I know a lot of homies were on that show that were somebody, you know, that were good. They got on the Gong Show, you know, or they tried to
Oh, really?
get on the show. Yeah, they tried to get on the Gong Show, or they were on the Gong Show. So that was like, you know, how you trying to get recognized, you know, in LA, you know, trying to get
Exactly, in LA.
put on. Yeah,
In
that was it.
LA, though. I'm glad I got you on here because now we can really touch on a lot of West Coast pivotal history because, like, the Gong Show, yeah, it was a LA thing, though. I remember, like,
Yep.
everybody that could dance wanted to get on the Gong
Right.
Show. And I remember as a kid, I wanted to get on the Gong Show, but I'm a
Yeah.
kid, so I don't know. I think my dad didn't take me serious. He was like, I ain't putting you on the Gong Show. Where the fuck is the Gong Show
Yeah.
at?
You know, crazy is because it's funny because some kids were lucky like that. Some kids were lucky because they had older brothers or cousins or uncles or somebody that danced, so they could do those types of things. You know what I mean? And so that was, you know, if you had somebody that was really in the life that was really good at what they did and really, you know, out there, then you know, you could go places a lot easier than some people. And first we were kind of relegated to certain areas of LA till there was a homie in our neighborhood, this Samoan cat. Where I was at in that era, like in the late 70s, early 80s, I was around like the area that I was at, the park that I was at, like Booyah Tribe was there.
Ooh, Booyah Tribe.
They were there. What's it called? It was a diverse area. So there was like, you know, Mexican folks, there was Salvadorians, there was different African people, there was Thai people, Laotians, Vietnamese, everybody. So we had a little bit of everybody and diverse areas, like, you know, diverse types of people from Latin countries, which was, you know, kind of like what helped me, you know, like understand all these different cultures. Because, you know, me and a lot of my friends, we had a crew, we were called the Minority Crew. And so we had all these different races of people.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
all these different races, I'm going to say, of people that formed our crew. And one of the cats in there, he was a Samoan cat. He had a van. And so with that van, that's when we started going to Hollywood, going to Venice, you know.
Oh, man.
So yeah, man, that's how we were getting exposed to like the scene and seeing stuff, you know.
Oh, that's so crazy though. Like,
Yeah.
dang, bro. Like, so let me ask you, when you first seen B Street and you seen the piece where it said hip hop, it don't stop. Like, when you seen that, like, what did you think about that piece?
You know what's crazy? Because I saw breaking before Beach Street.
B Street.
And it was funny because Shrimp was also around us a lot too. So Shrimp was around us. Him and you know, some other cats were around us when we were growing up. And so that's what we were more privy to. But same time, though, we didn't. We dressed more like New York guys. You know, there were guys that dressed a lot like LA with all the flashy bandanas and that stuff like that. But then there were dudes that were, you know, like a lot of the poppers, they more or less dressed like gangsters, you know, because a lot of them were gangsters, you know, and so
Majority of them was gangsters though, bro. Like every time you talk, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna add into what you're saying because it is true. I remember when I first seen Poppin', I knew it was on some gang shit though because everybody had Sir jackets. You remember the Sir jackets?
Yeah.
The Sir jackets with the white painter's gloves.
Yep.
The crocus sack shoes or the house shoes, and the jacket would say like the Midnight Poppers or the So Rough So Tough Poppers or Rough and Tough Poppers or something, but it was all in old English.
Perms and rollers. That's how, you know, we were all coming up like with that. And so the thing is I remember I was telling Storm when I lived with Storm, when I moved to Germany, I lived with Storm and his wife at the time. And I was Poppin', from my perspective, I said, dude, you know, like, to tell you the truth, it's like from where I grew up and what I saw, it was gangsters. It was gangsters.
Straight up. It was straight up gangsters though, bro. Like it was gangsters and that was just it. And the only music they was playing was Roger and Zach.
Right. Either that or James Brown or you know, some other funk or something like that. And it was crazy because they would come up to us. This is before any hip hop was even mentioned. Dudes would come up and ask you what set you from. They'd hit you from. If you didn't bang, then they'd be like, you know how to pop, you know how to lock. And then if you did, they'd be like, okay, let's pop or lock. And then usually you make a friend. You know what I mean? That's how I got to know a lot of dudes from the different neighborhoods was through popping and locking. You know what I mean? They would, you know, what can you do? Or, you know, and then they show me some moves or something like that. And then it was just like that, you know, or they beat you. You know what I mean?
You know the crazy story about that? Yeah, you know the crazy thing about that too, brother? Like, since we're talking about the West Coast, on the East Coast, they called it the go-off. That was the name of breaking before it.
That's what
it was called the go-off. On the West Coast, we called it getting off.
Yeah. You know, what was a trip was when I moved up to Northern Cal, and it was funny because we had moved during the summer. So we had got there right before school, you know, let in. So we were there kicking it. And then they had this dance. They had this big dance down at downtown at the convention center. It was like a back party. So my mom was like, you guys should just go check it out and see what's up. Maybe you'll meet some friends. And we were like, me and my sister were like, man, it's probably going to be bunky. It's going to be lame. We went up there, man, cracking. It was cracking. Them fools was up there. I had never seen them dressed up like gangsters, dudes dressed like gangsters. But then you had these dudes that were real into the Prince. So all they were, dudes dressed in like straight up lookalikes like Prince. I had, you know, we had that kind of scene down in LA too. I knew some cats that was like into the mod thing and then also like a bit of the Prince thing. But these cats were like dead on looking like Prince. But they were some of the hardest poppers. And then I was the first time I came into like contact with hitting and strutting. And when I saw that, I was like, what? And that I was geeked about that. I was just like, oh man, this is lit. And I was telling all my friends back in LA, I was like, oh man, you got to see this style. You know, them just like, you know what I mean? Just the point spins and hard hits and stuff. That shit, you know, that moved me. I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And then when I got into high school, you know, there was some dudes, you know, there was a lot of dope B-boys. There was a lot of dope breakers. There was these cats, oh man, I forget some of the names of the crews, but they also were some graffiti dudes. And there was a crew called the Pro Vandals. And Donald, and then the other dude, David. I forget their last names, but two Latin cats. But David and Donald were, David was the graffiti head, and he was kind of the leader of Pro Vandals, and Donald was the b-boy dude, and this dude was dope. He was super dope b-boy, and so I got down with them with Pro Vandals, and then as breaking and popping started kind of like fading down.
What year was that?
I would say that was probably about
87,
yeah, 86, 87. It was starting to die out. They kind of dropped off on it, and then I the crew, and then I switched it from Pro Vandals to TCB, to the Capitol's Best.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I it, and then all those guys, David tried to hold on for a while, but then he just kind of went into a different thing. But then there was this cat named Mike Morales. That was the dude who was writing Vex. Me and him just kept it going for a long time, man. We were holding down the city. Like we didn't see any other writers. It was just us. And we were going around, you know, we hooked up with these different kids, and they were just mainly, you know, just kind of watching out for us.
Can I ask you a quick question though, bro? At this time, were those kids, was there like majority black kids, or was everybody multiracial?
It was a little bit of, it was different, because when at that time, those crews mainly made up like Pro Vandals was mainly Latino.
Okay.
And what's it called? And Filipino. And then
right, because it's up north, because it's North Cal. Yeah.
Black dudes. But Burbank was pretty diverse. There was a lot of Burbank High School at that time was pretty diverse. Like there was a little bit of everybody. There was white people, there was blacks, there was Samoans. I remember the Samoans and Tongans used to go at it.
Oh yeah.
That's like, and Tongan Crip gang used to go at it, you know. And then the 2-9s and the what's it called, and the Bloods used to get into it all the time at Burbank. But then at that time, that was like the time I was introduced to like the sideshows. You know what I mean? I had never seen the sideshow before, and they used to come up, like you'd have the car clubs that would come up to the high school in the parking lot and cruise around. There was like Pinto Club. There was these dudes that Camaros, like all Camaros. They used to roll up. There was a few dudes with lowriders and some hot rod dudes that would come up there and just, you know, get busy in the parking lot. And then there would, you know, all the kids would be sitting there like, you know, just checking them out. There's DJs making special request tapes. Like they, you know, you basically, there was this one crew, it was called Jam On Productions. I remember that.
Ooh, okay.
Jam On Productions. I forgot I'm seeing the dude. I see him like clear as day. The dude who was the main DJ dude. He was a cool ass brother, and he was dope at martial arts too. It was like sick ass fighter too. But me and him used to talk about martial arts all the time. But real cool dude. And I used to get tapes made by him all the time. Like I paid $10. He'd bring me back a tape the next Friday. You know, whatever. You know, and people like Short, other people like MC Hammer, other folks used to come up to the high school in the park, stuff like that. So I was getting introduced to these to the whole Northern California scene via this high school parking lot. And then going to Cal Expo would have like the lowrider shows, and they would have like a dance contest and a DJ contest. And every year, that's when I got introduced to Mixmaster Mike.
Oh,
Master Mike was from Sacramento, and he used to always win the DJ contest. And guess who used to win the dance contest? MC Hammer. And then,
oh shit!
What an album! And I remember the year that he won it. He was telling everybody he was gonna come out with an album, and everybody was laughing like, "Oh, nigga, you ain't finna do that shit. You full of shit." And that motherfucker dropped that album, and everybody shut the fuck up.
Bro, let's jump on Hammer real quick, though, man. I remember watching MTV Raps, though, right? Sitting down with my boy, and This guy wants to do his trash like right here.
Uh,
We're watching MTV Raps though, and my boy was like, "Yo, there's a dude that he's killing it. Like he's like the best dancer."
mhm.
I was like, "Yeah, I heard that before," and I heard him say, "You ain't hitting in New York, Hammer. So what you gonna
Yeah.
do now?"
Yeah.
Yo, shouts out to my boy Beetle. Yo, Beetle, I want to speak to you too, though, brother.
And
So
shout out
I'm gonna get with you,
Hammer, man. MC Hammer. That dude was
bro.
incredible.
So when he said, "I'm gonna turn this mother out," I just remember like, okay, let's see what he can do. When he did the breakdown and they dropped Apache,
Dude. Killed it.
bro,
Man, when that song
bro.
I was bumping that shit. I was like, oh shit.
When the scratching in there, everything. When
Yeah.
that video, was getting played on MTV Raps day and night, day and night, day and night.
And the video with the black and white, that shit was hard, dude. I was like, God damn. He did that shit, man. He shut everybody up.
He
And
did.
blew.
So, and then when he came out with Pump It,
Yeah.
Pump It, Pump
Yeah.
It. Ooh, can you feel it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
And see, the thing was, it's funny because, like, when you look at those different things, and I feel like a lot of times what happened was hip hop didn't catch on itself. Like, they caught on in the sense of being fans of it and liking it, but they didn't catch on as far as like, okay, this dude cracked the door open. Let's run in that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the boys didn't really capitalize on it like they should have, because he basically, you know, opened it up for dancing. And it's like,
Oh my gosh. Hammer said dancing off for the planet. I'm sorry.
saying?
I'm sorry. Kid and Play was nice. I love Kid and Play. But MC Hammer individually,
Oh. And look
bro,
at,
he shook the whole planet. My boy was on Arsenio Hall. He had a cartoon.
that's what I'm saying.
He was on a Doritos commercial. Hammer was everything.
But I think what happened was because people, like, you know, what happens a lot of time is this. Sometimes when we see our own do something that's incredible, it puts a mirror in your face. And it's like, okay, I did this. Now what are you going to do? And if people feel intimidated by that, they'll just sit back and they'll just be like, that nigga, fuck that nigga, he's
And that's what happened.
He's selling.
And that's what happened.
You know what I mean? And that's what they did with Hammer. And all the bullshit that motherfuckers was talking about him, I couldn't believe it. They were saying, oh, he's selling out black folks in there. I was like, are you kidding me? Have you been to a Hammer show? Have you been to a Hammer? Have you seen a Hammer production? Ain't nothing.
I have.
You know what I mean? How many black folks? That nigga went broke trying to support black folks. And
Everybody. He put everybody on the paycheck.
dude, he was, and then, you know, so that's why I was like, man, you know, that brother, if I have something to do with it, like I'm in the midst right now of creating all of these different things here in my studio to recognize people like that. Because we need our own award. We need our own shit from our own people. We don't need their shit. Fuck their shit. I'm sorry. But I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, you know, that's cool, but you know what? These motherfuckers was hating on our asses the whole time. I didn't forget about that. I'm not bitter by it, but I remember that shit. And I'm not going to sit back and I'm not going to just sit there and just be like, oh, yeah, you know, just because they want to recognize me now. Now I'm going to be all, oh, yeah, you know, thank you. And, oh, you know what? If I went up there, I'd be like Steely Dan when they got their motherfucking Lifetime Achievement Award. It's inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's about time, motherfucker. It's about.
I'm the same way. There's a brother on YouTube. I think his name is Chris Chase. You ever heard of him? He's a motivational speaker.
I think so. He's a big brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He has a saying, and like it makes sense. He said, "They will show up when you blow up."
Exactly. And I
They
said,
will show up when you blow up.
yeah, and I have a saying, stop rapping and make it happen.
I got a saying too, if you don't move your feet, then you don't eat.
That's real. And so I feel like this. I was talking with OG the other day, and I just we were talking about an award, like recognizing different writers, and I said, hey man, well I'm put together the plaque. So it's just like when people, you know, so that we can just start recognizing our own. And I feel like if it comes from another hip hop person, I think it'll be a lot more appreciated. And so that's why I say I'm going to create, use all my skill sets and put together something that's amazing, so that it's something that people see that this is just some cheap ass shit. This is really something beautiful, recognizing something beautiful within our culture. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we don't need to recognize it before anybody.
With that being said, I want to touch on what you said, and like it stuck in my mind when we said like hip hop is basically like a G-Wagon or Lamborghini or Maserati with the doors open and the keys, and everybody's like looking at it, you know. And us as black people, it's like, this is our culture. Like everybody like yourself, me, like we should have all the luxuries. We should have all the benefits, like right off the stop, like right off the jump. We should have it. But at the same time, I agree with what a lot of people say though. Like you got to put in the work.
Well, I believe that we have put in the work. The whole thing is it's like this. If what I learned, a valuable lesson, what I learned was from this dude named Bob Bryant, who did Graffiti Verite.
Okay.
And he just said, like, basically, in a nutshell, you know, you got to take what it is that you want. It's like, take it. Recognize it. And that's how I came up with the saying that I said about the Lamborghini, you know, sitting wide open with $1 million in the passenger seat, running with the keys in it, wide open. And motherfuckers just said, oh, really? And just jumped in that motherfucker and took off with it. And so the thing is we can't wait for this. We have more than deserved it. We have put people's children, like Prince said, we done put people's children's children through college. And so the whole point is like, you know, I just said, like I said, I just stopped talking about it, just start doing it, man. Like
that's what I'm doing too, though. Like Toons, like that's why I said, you know, with these interviews, I'm just gonna keep going, and then by the time it's said and done, my catalog is gonna be so nice that when it comes up, when breaking hits the Olympics, and people start like, we need somebody to video offer anything like that. You know,
yeah.
I want to be the first one to be like, that. I already got.
Yeah, your sound's going in and out. But I think the thing is like this. I'm like this. You know, those are all great institutions, and you know they do their thing and everything. But I feel like we have to recognize and build our own, because it's when you build your own and we created this. It's like if we do this, then they'll come to us in a different way. Then they'll come to us with a righteous negotiation, because there's a foundation there. And so it's like we had these discussions. Like the Getty Museum came up with this book, this sketchbook. You know, like I don't know if you know about it. Like it's all these writers, and I you know, I was in the talks with them with Create, and I talked with one of the organizers, and when I found out the terms of it, I didn't want to be a part of it. I didn't want to participate in it, because I felt like it was not favorable to the people that were in the book. And so I said, well, how can we give them this book, this body of work, when we don't even have that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're giving them a priceless body of work for free. And we don't even have like that organized amongst ourselves. That's not a good look. And so that, you know, are you guys willing to compensate, at least compensate the writers for their time to create these pieces? They weren't even willing to do that.
I'm not doing that with anybody no more.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm not
so
doing
it's like, no,
that with anybody anymore because
like,
I've been lowballed so many.
You can't go to ABC, you can't go to ABC or Netflix and say, hey, check this out. I got this idea, and if you guys can put it on your network, and maybe, yeah, they'll be like, nigga, you better get your ass up out of here before we call security. You feel me? But
right.
Saying it's just like, you know, they keep coming to us with these bullshit expectations because we're not holding ourselves to a higher degree of value. And so I just say to us as a culture, to our culture, is just step it up.
Just do it.
Just
That's
do
all
it.
I'm gonna do. Just do it. Yeah, you're right though, Toons. I'm just gonna do it, and that's what I'm doing right now as we speak. I'm getting messages from people's like, "Yo, let's do it though, Mikey." So I'm just like, you know what? All this year, I'm just gonna put my feet to the ground, and I'm just gonna run though, bro. And if there's people in the back that wanna do the race with me, you're willing to do it. You know, you're welcome to do it. But I just feel like in 2023, I just feel like it's time to really just like take it as far as I can go with it, and just be a leader. To me, that's the definition of a pioneer. It's somebody that goes out to uncharted waters and just does it. That's a pioneer. He blazes his own trails. That's a pioneer. A person that blazes his own trails.
Yep. And you honor the people that you learn from by doing that. So that for me is like, you know, what I do with teaching and learning and things like that is just to honor the people that were gracious enough to show me the way. And so that for me, that part of hip hop, each one teach one, is so important, you know, such an important element to our legacy and growth of our culture. It's something, you know, and I'm not complaining. I by no means, I'm not complaining about nothing. I'm just stating fact. Whether it will or will not, in the time that I see fit, evolve into what I would love to see it, is yet to be seen. But at the same time, that's just a reminder for me to stay on my B-boy. And that's all I do. Like, look, if you don't like what you see, then just get busy. Get busy doing something dope, and motherfuckers will recognize. That's all you got.
Yeah, they will.
Waste your time like pointing out, you know, whack shit. Just if you in the moment you say, oh, that's whack, okay, then bust. That's what hip hop for me was on the B-boy, B-girl state of mind, was just staying sharp. And so I tell people, I'm like, look at, if B-boys from the past were to look at B-boys now, and I'm saying not just B-boys as far as just break boys and dancers and stuff, I'm talking about like graffiti artists, all that mentality of hip hop, what would they think?
You know what they would think? You know what I think they would think? Because I'm from that era too, and I can look at back in the day and look at today. I would think, you know what? Why didn't I step my shit up?
That's real. Because
why didn't I do it? What was my problem? Like, what was holding me back? I was listening to all these other fools telling me that the shit was whack. It was too commercial.
Right.
And that was my downfall. That's what I would tell myself. That was my downfall.
And the crazy thing is, like, because back then B-boyism was futuristic.
Oh, super.
It wasn't on no stagnant shit. And so that's why I said, like, you got to step it up. Tunes. You got to step it up, bro. And that's, you know, just my hardest critic is just like to just stay on it and to stay relevant, not for just the culture, but for myself. So that
I want to agree with you on that too, though, brother. I believe in relevance and progression for yourself.
Right.
So you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I don't want nobody coming up to me and being like, OG, like, you remember? It's like, no, I don't remember because I'm still doing it now. You know what I'm saying? To me, the term OG, you know what the term OG really means to me?
Yeah.
What's out the game?
Oh shit! Oh, damn! Oh shit! Mic drop.
So when people be like, "Yo, what's up, OG?" I'll be like, "Nah, bro, that ain't my name."
Wow!
Out the game.
Wow! And it's funny because in a lot of young people's minds, that's really kind of like in the back of their mind.
Yeah. To be truthful about it, I'm gonna be honest with you because they figure like, you know what, you're an older guy. You got a little bit of gray. Like, you don't know what's up with Nike. We got the new Jordans. We got the new, like, I'm like, bruh, all that shit. What's new about it? What's new about it? Like, Jordans, are you serious? I remember when they first dropped in 85, though. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
I was telling somebody back in the day, I was telling someone just the other day, I said, man, I've been in the shoe customizing game since the 80s. I said, I was working, my first job was working in a shoe store in Sacramento. And that was and I was there working at that store when Reeboks first dropped off, when they first jumped off.
With the Velcro?
Jordans, all of that. So I seen those. I was getting Jordans, the first ones. I had a little business. I was already painting them when the first ones came out, customize them, and then we would order them. They had a program. Nike had the ID program way back then. A lot of people don't. Like, you could basically, like the high schools, they could order them in their team colors. So I would order pairs for myself in those team colors. And I'd be the only motherfucker that wasn't a basketball player that had them Nikes. I wish I had a couple pairs of the Jordans down. Those motherfuckers was worth crazy money. But the thing was, and then, you know, like with skateboarding first, I was telling somebody about skateboarding when they first adopted Jordans. You know what I mean? That was the first Blazers were, I would say, because those were in the 70s. People were rocking Blazers. But
can I ask you a question?
What's that?
A trivia question. Do you remember when Jordan started making an introduction into the skateboard world?
Yeah.
Do you remember like what?
Oh yeah.
You know who set that off?
Yeah.
Who was that?
It was Mark Gonzalez. It was
hit it right there. Pause it right there. Pause it right there. Okay. Thrasher magazine. And I open the Thrasher magazine up. I see the Gons doing a Japan Air over a car.
With Jordans on.
With Jordans on.
Yes. And the funny thing was, you know, that post I just posted with Jesse Martinez, that particular skate jam was in Sacramento. It was at Sacramento Raceway. And that
Tommy Guerrero won that.
Tommy Guerrero won that. That's right. That was the first time people saw someone skating in Jordans. Who was skating in Jordans? It was Johnny Cop. It was what's it called? Mark Gonzalez, and it was Tommy Guerrero. And I think
he had Jordans on.
Maybe Christian Asoy too. But yeah, dude. When I saw, I was working at a shoe store when that was going down and had Jordans. So when I saw that, all my Jordans became my skate shoes, bro.
Oh.
All my Jordans became my skate shoes. Cause it was a thing because first of all, it was people that looked more like me that were starting that trend. and I was already, you know, heavy into b-boyism. So, you know what I mean? It's like skating in Jordans. Come on, bro. And they were dressed. They weren't dressed all in rags. They were dressed like kind of dope. These dudes when they were skating, they had the back almost looking.
When I seen the Animal Chin video, if you notice in the Animal Chin video, they had Jordans on the whole video, the whole entire video.
Yeah, dude. And then you see the Paul Peralta. I'm about to do a whole post on that shit. Paul Peralta. There's the one shot on the the Animal Chin video. It was the one where they're on the mega ramp that they built, and they all go up and do this hand plant. There's 4 of them. I think Steve Caballero, Mike McGill, Tony Hawk, and I think it's Lance Mountain. I'm not sure, but I think all but one all but one of the skaters has Jordans on.
I don't think Tony Hawk had Jordans on.
No. He had Airwalks or something else, or it wasn't Airwalks.
It was Converse.
Well, I think maybe Airwalks were out. I think they were out.
Yeah, Airwalks was out, but he didn't have that on.
Yeah, Converse.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why I used to wonder why, like, how come he didn't have Jordans? That always kind of puzzled my mind because everybody had him on the whole entire video. If you notice the whole entire video, he never had Jordans on.
Well, because he was making money. You have to understand, his dad, Frank Hawk, was a businessman. That was a serious businessman. And I mean, not only ran the what was it? I forgot the name of it. Oh man, the skate association. It was the big skate association. I forgot the name of it.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I think it was called the NSC or NASA.
Or it's something like NSA almost like that. But
yeah.
He ran that shit, Frank Hawk. So he naturally kind of, you know, he had the end. Everybody wanted to be down with him. So he always got all the hookups, and he definitely was hooking up his son, which any good dad would do. And so, you know, he made sure his son was getting paid. You know what I mean? From Tracker, from Powell, from everybody.
Quicksilver. Quicksilver.
Yeah. So I'm guessing Tony Hawk was probably, if not one of the, he was probably one of the first multi-millionaire skaters. And then, you know, I think Tony Alva was one. Then Christian Hosoi.
For sure. Yeah. Hosoi for sure.
Yeah, Hosoi was a whole different. It was funny because you had Tony Hawk, he was heavy in the skate game, but Christian Hosoi was a bomb-ass skater, but he was heavy in the celebrity game. Like
you know what's crazy though too that I kind of noticed? I always think, how come Steve Stedham wasn't getting that shine?
You know, I mean, you know why?
Steve Stedham was nasty, bro. But the one thing I noticed that Steve Stedham didn't do, his airs weren't that really high. His airs were kind of low.
Yeah, and then the other thing with Steve Stedham was he wasn't outspoken. If Steve Stedham would have been outspoken, like say, what's his name? What's the cat from DGK?
Stevie Williams.
Stevie Williams. If he was more outspoken like a Stevie Williams or what's the other kid? TK, Terry Kennedy?
Yeah.
Then he would have blew up like that. But he wasn't outspoken. Like, remember him? Remember Ron Allen? All those cats.
Ron Allen, bro. My ninja can ollie almost. Oh my god. His ollies were bananas.
Yeah, and they were kind of low key. Ray Barbie, all of them were kind of, and so that's why I was just like, damn, you know, like until, you know, really street skating came along and guys really, you know, kind of got, you know, that was a whole nother thing. But it was cool because graffiti always kind of rolled along with that. Like Nodis. You know what's crazy though too? If you look on the grip tape, they tagged in graffiti build ramps, not bombs. Yeah, and you know who a lot of skaters were riders too, low key riders or wannabe riders. I know that dude. You know Nodis Kappas. Yeah, he was big into graffiti. Oh yeah, he's who designed, you know, the Ice-T logo, Ice-T's logo with the b-boy hat with the Ice-T. Remember? That was Nodis.
No.
Dude, straight up, man. And it's like, you
Mm.
that shit, man. It's like, dude, there's so much hip hop shit that is influenced. And then like there was a company called LA Bronx that I
Oh, I
worked
don't remember that.
and then Risk actually they work with Risk too. But when I moved back down to LA in '88, I hooked up with them. And they were like one of the first, you know, if not the first kind of graffiti, you know, skateboard company that I saw was LA Bronx. This guy named Robert Tatum, and
Okay.
he had me. He had this guy. He had Risky. He had this other guy named Mark Munsky. He was a writer on the West Side. He just tagged. He's dope. He had dope ass hand style, and he wrote Fun Crime.
Oh, nice. You know, I was gonna ask you too, brother. I'm pretty sure you remember, but Cycle City.
Oh hell yeah. Man, when I first went to Cycle City, it was funny how we first came into the Bay because I was still in Sacramento, and then Mike Morales, that was a dude, Vex, that my writing buddy, and there was this one dude named Ed that was a homie of ours. He was a DJ, and his dad was like the custodian of the high school of Burbank. So Ed had a car. So every Friday we would skip school. We would, you know, leave, you know, and go to San Francisco and come back before the last period. So we catch the last period marked as absent the whole day. That was our thing. And so we used to go to the Bay and we go to Cycle City. We that's where I first met Crayon, was in Cycle City. And we go to
That was the first time I heard of Cycle City is when I heard of the FM20s.
Oh, wow. Okay. Damn.
FM20s, bro.
Wow. Damn.
And let me throw this in there too.
Hmm?
The Upper Room.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, dude. Yeah, dude. And it was crazy. Like, you know, when I saw these different writers in the Bay, it was really a trip. Like the names, like, you know, just like Picasso and
Picasso. I know him.
To call themselves Picasso, you know, and then
I know Picasso. Isn't he from Fresno?
Huh?
Where's Picasso from? Fresno?
He was from San Jose.
Oh, I thought he was from Fresno.
He might originally be, but when I met him, he was living in San Jose.
When I met him, he was living in Fresno.
Okay.
Is he on Instagram?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Okay.
He used Alan Wolf.
Is that his name?
Yeah, that was his tag. But
okay.
Yeah, like names like Man 45 and Sundance and all these just way out names, and I was tripping out on them, you know, and just dudes and people with just whole different perspective. And so, and the Bay Area style was just different. Like there was new wave, and then, you know, the new wave kind of funk, like the funk, their funk. I called it new wave funk because they had just a different style, the way they did their kind of like a New York style funk. It was like they evolved it, and cats like Dream and shit was Nexus kind of had that style too. I remember seeing his stuff going to San Jose, Levin Taylor. That was a crazy wall. They used to get down out there, and then but the trippy thing for me was how big they did their pieces. And I used to Bay Area like the land of the silent kings, because it was like there was all these dope ass writers that I had never heard about, and still, like, most people don't even know who they are. And these dudes were dope. And it's just like, they'd have sketchbooks just full of like massive, like wild styles. Like, like this is the first time I would go and people had like 10, 12, 11 sketchbooks, like volumes. And I was just like, what? And they'd be filled, not just like with bullshit tags here and there. It would be like sketches stacked, you know, top to bottom. You know what I mean? Over the whole pages. And I was like, fuck, these dudes are thorough. So that helped me to step my game up And then just when I started really hanging, I was hanging with Crayon first, and then he slowly brought me around the crew. And
Okay.
at first doing shit, but just carrying the paint, helping them carry the paint from the cars or wherever, unload the paint, sit there and watch the whole day while they painted. They would paint from barely sun up till sundown, like steady.
Man, that's a lot of paint, though, bro. When I really think about it, you know, there's something I wanted to ask you though too. Dream, like, what was Dream like though? I've heard stories about him. By the time I got to the yard, he was already killed.
Yeah.
But do you remember Dream as a person? Like, how was he as an individual?
Yeah. Man, I remember the first day I met Mike, and man, it was such a humbling experience because I saw his work before. Like, I remember, like, one of the first pieces that we saw was like the Erotic City piece. We saw that when that was freshly done. And oh my God, when him and Vogue, I mean, him and Vogue, I have to give it up to Vogue too. I mean, Vogue was a beast too.
Okay.
Just when we saw that piece at the 23rd yard, man, it was crazy. It was just crazy. It was like you didn't know how to act because it was so big for one thing, and then it was just so fresh. It was so fresh, and it was just, you know, man. And then to meet the dudes that did it, you know, you meet different people, and sometimes, you know, their personalities are big, you know what I mean, and you know, they're kind of big headed or whatever, but so down to earth and cool. He just reminded me of like some of the OGs that I mean, well, I'll call them, you know, gangsters that I knew from LA. Like, just some of the coolest people that I knew that were just so, like, they did so much, but they were so humble, you know, but not on no really, like, some cool shit. And he embodied what being a writer for me was about just being a cool person, not on no weirdo shit, but just, you know, cool brother. And we just hit it off. We just were talking. He was just, you know, oh yeah, I told him I was from LA and I live in Sacramento. He's like, what? Sacramento? Whoa. You know, I've been out there a few times, but not really. Never on no graffiti shit. And so, you know, but just super encouraging, super cool. And, you know, from that moment, we just hit it off. And, like, so over the years, I would just run into him and, you know, just mainly at the 23rd yard. And and the other time really I built with him was when he would come to LA. He came to LA for a couple writer events, and he was also on one of our shows, our Top Illin show. And I got to spend a lot of time with him, you know.
I was going to ask you, who started TDK?
Oh man, I would say I thought it was him and Vogue. Okay. But I'm not. I could be wrong because I remember him. You know, in the interview, he was saying something about that. I don't know if he had. No. I think he started that because he was going to actually get in TWS. You know that, right? No. Yeah, he actually was about to get into TWS, but there was friction, you know, between TWS at the time and TMF. And there was the funk and new wave wars, I like to call them. You know, that's actually, I was kind of like almost in between a little bit of the funk because when I had met Crayon, it was building up. And me and Crayon did a piece over in Norfolk Alley in SF. And the TMF dudes dissed it, and I was pissed. I was ready to go after them fools. What does TMF stand for? The Mellow Fellows, or those motherfuckers, or you know, the most famous. They had a bunch of different names, but and you know, I was ready to go after them fools. You know, and it was funny because when I first came to, when I was first coming to SF, Crayon was introducing me to all them fools. Like he took me over Doug's house, and so then for that to happen, I was like, oh hell no, I'm finna get these fools, and then they were wondering who I was because most of the T-dubs weren't talking like that. They like on some like like go and handle these fools type shit. Right. Anyway, so thank God none of that never happened. It never came down to blows or anything like that. But yeah, he was about to get into TWS, but because of his friendship with Doug and with Rigel, I think that's why TDK came into formation. Okay. And so I'm not 100% sure of that, so please forgive me if I'm off with my facts, people. But that's what I believe is to be true. But the other thing is the crew I have to mention too was ROT, Reign of Terror, which became STP, the Bay Area's STP. And I used to tell the STP from LA about the STP from the Bay, and I was like, yo, man, these kids in STP, it's two dudes, and they are wrecking shop. Them dudes, and I showed them the pieces that they would do, like Shock and Rule. They were the only crew that I knew that battled TDK. You know what I mean? That had the balls to battle TDK when TDK was really killing it. And they came with it. They came with their, they didn't beat them, but they did come with their, they came with their, with their fire though. They did come with, swinging, with some funk,
Right. That's dope though. Shouts out Combo. I got my homeboy Combo on here. I want to talk to you about. Can you explain, from your point of view, the importance of Black History Month, like basically transitioning with hip hop culture? Like what is your point of view with hip hop culture being 50 and then adding Black History Month on top of it?
Okay. Well, for me, I never believed in, Black History Month.
Okay.
Where it is. Go ahead.
Okay, I respect definitely what you said. For me, it's all year, but I just noticed this. Yeah, I just noticed this month. Like for me, I feel very, very inspired. That's the reason why I reached out to you.
No, I get it. I get it, and
I feel truly. And every day when I wake up, I feel like what, I'm gonna go look for my own. I'm about to go look for my brothers though.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked Ghana, like, can you give me some names? And she mentioned you. And I said, you know what? I never met this brother, but I want to hear him. And it was from the idea of being inspired that Black History Month was coming up. That's the reason why I asked you that.
Yeah. Well, there's no, and I say that with all due respect to everybody who does feel inspired and empowered by this month. There's nothing taken against you. I would never say that. And even to those who would try to limit us to that, it's no slight them either. Because you are trying to attempt to limit us, you're limiting your own experience.
Of course. Yeah, you're right. The reason why I say that is because...
No, I get why you're saying it. I'm just saying that's my disclaimer to the broad spectrum.
No, yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, even that, like, to me, it's like, yeah, if you were limiting us, it's like you're taking the fun out of your life. Right. You're literally taking the fun out of your life because exactly. Black culture is world culture. Like, we're the definition of cool. We're the definition of style. We're the definition of fashion. We're the definition of...
And so
it just evolves around us.
People take that in the wrong way, and and so that's why I said let me define it so people know where we're coming from. We're not from a sense of deficiency. or division, because we understand, we overstand exactly who we are. And who we are is the mothers and fathers of everything in existence. So
Everything.
negate, and nor do you delineate from any of your offspring, or you embrace it. That's why we give. That's why we create, for the world to be able to benefit from and grow from. But when you don't respect that, you don't come back to that, that's when we have an issue. That's when we have to, it's not, and it's just so that it's just a reminder of where you come from. Don't limit yourself. So when people speak up, you know, to so-called white people or whatever, any other nationality of people, it's just to remind you, really, it's we love all of you. That's why we embrace all of you. That's why we created all of you. It's a reflection of everything that is beautiful. It's everything that is, you are great, all of you. But that's where we have to come back together and understand that and celebrate that. Black History Month is for everyone. Everyone.
Because everyone's already a part of it.
You cannot, you are automatically a part of that. There's no separation. It's impossible. So when you understand that and you embrace that, then you benefit from it. You grow from it, but you don't leave a part of you hanging. That's the part that we're dealing with. We're dealing with a demographic that has taken from this and has left a large part of it, you know, suffering. And so we have to bring that back into one so that we can all flourish and we can go into these next, you know, millennia, you know, with a different sense, with a better sense of self and a better sense of where we're going. That's why there's so much confusion and people not being sure about going into the future, because they've chosen to negate their past. They've chosen to distance themselves, attempt to distance themselves from their past. And that's not the way to do it. You have to accept where you come from and embrace where you come from and know where you come from so that you can be present and so that you can go into the future confidently, wisely, respectfully.
Very, very well spoken though, brother. Like, that's one of the main reasons why I like doing this though too, because I love intelligent conversation.
What's up, Trickster? No, that's what's up. That's what's up.
I love intelligent conversation because I know black people, we can say, yo, this, you know what I'm saying? Yo, swag, drip, blah, blah, blah. But to me, I only process shit when it's said intelligently. Because
that's what's important.
That's what I am. Because that's what I am.
Exactly.
I'm an intelligent being.
That's what culture is.
I'm an intelligent being. That's all I am. Like, I'm more than just a black person. I'm a spiritual, intelligent being.
I mean, just if you just want to mathematically break down, just breakdancing or popping, just mathematically and scientifically break it down. What kind of equation would that look like? The thing is it's when I see what people are doing, and it's the same thing like with skateboarding, it blows my mind because I see it in numbers. I can see like someone saying, you know what? I'm going to go from this top rocking to this air flare to this to that to a 2000, 2002 and pop up on my feet. That's, come on. It's like that's a difficult.
They should call it the 2002.
And it's amazing just like that people can do something that is so incredible with something so simple just as your body. It's the highest form of self-expression, or whether you're rapping, you're freestyling over a beat, just coming straight from your mind and you're just talking. You're you're delineating it's, to me, I study martial arts, I study Kung Fu. And one of the biggest things that that we learn is about energy, understanding energy, and the energy that is constantly around you for you to be able to draw from at any given moment. So,
oh yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, understanding that energy field and utilizing it, you can manifest whatever
I
it is.
love it. I love that energy field that you're talking about, because there's days that I can wake up and I can just feel like it's so, and then something inside was like, nah, it ain't gonna just be a so day. Let's do it. Let's do it. And right after I get off with you, I'm gonna speak to Cornbread, and I'm gonna speak to another brother by the name of K1. You ever heard of K1?
Yeah.
That's the energy that we're saying, that where I'm drawing from, and I know that I can draw from it at any time. It's not a certain day. It's not okay in February, that I can get this energy. I can get this energy. I've been having this energy as long as I've been a part of hip hop, and I knew it. I knew it the minute that I would just be like, okay, I'm not really feeling it today, and I'll get that tape, put it in, push play, and I will hear, clap your hands, everybody. Yeah. You got what it takes.
And it's just like when people, like I said, when they start understanding and coming into being comfortable with that, you can build all kinds of things.
Oh,
and
my
it's
God.
Just and see, this is the thing that now, as a person that is creating visually, like I'm looking for ways to translate that. Like X-Plan said, the powers of to translate, the translators of the interplanetary funk code.
Mm.
I'm one of those persons. So just being able to translate those things and bring them from the cosmos into this space is what we're doing. And so that's what a lot of hip hop people, and I was silent. Like I told you, I said, I didn't do interviews. I didn't do photos, none of that for years. And
me too.
One person convinced me. She convinced me. She said, your voice is important. She said,
oh, so
many young people that don't know what to do with themselves. And the fact that you're doing this and you're doing it well, this is the way for them. So
you know what's crazy though too, brother, on top of this?
What's up, bud?
Just watching like what I've been doing, I've seen 4 people already start a podcast just like me, identical.
And you know what? It's a great thing that they're doing that, because you know what? Like Steven Spielberg said this one thing. There was an interview and people were asking, the interview was asking him, like, why you keep making video or movies about the Holocaust? And he said, what's up to Bud's Rock?
What's up, Bud?
He said, why you keep making these videos about these movies about the Holocaust? And Steven Spielberg said, I encourage everyone to make movies and tell stories, to tell their stories and tell them over and over, because it's important. And there's so many different perspectives to those stories. It was in response, he did this amazing documentary series called Showa, and it was about the Holocaust. It was just interviews. That's it. And I highly encourage you people to check that out if you get a chance. It's very hard, but it's very interesting. But I say that to tell people to tell your story. Learn how to tell your story.
That's the thing. Learn how to tell your story, because telling your story and speaking is an art form. It's an art form.
From France in the house.
It's an art form. It's an art form to be able to speak intelligently and basically like to flow.
Well, that's antiquity, and that's our native our native way of soothsaying and history. The way we you know, we carried our history, our lineage. It was an oral tradition. Before it was written, became something because they foresaw what was going to happen. So they wanted to leave something for future generations. That's why you have the monuments. That's why you have Kemet. You have different places around the world that have carvings that were there to stand the test of time. But oral tradition was the strongest tradition of telling history. And so that's why I, you know, by getting back into understanding, you know, self, that was why I said, okay, I have to learn how to tell my history, you know, to tell my story, you know.
It's important to tell your story, though, brother, because one day we're going to pass away, and it's a shame if you don't got nothing to show. If you don't got, like, your kids or your grandkids or somebody can look back and say, dang, like, you know what, look how happy he was, though. Like, I'm young. I'm 18 years old. You know what? Like, this is how you become a better an entrepreneur or something. I just believe that our stories need to be like shared, because you said generations from now, the internet is not going anywhere.
Well, even if it does, you still, to me, people, our energy is what created the internet. We're much, 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 much more than an internet. An internet is all outward expression of one small grain of sand of information that is there. Once you understand, overstand, and understand who you are as a being, what was invested in you, and what is possible that you can manifest, then you will begin to look at the internet in a whole different way, because you are all this technology. All it is outward expressions of your inwardly functions. So the we're on now is a cell phone. It's predicated. Its whole base technology is based on how our cells can communicate with one another. That's what we did innately. But because those things have become dormant to a certain extent, that's why we've had to externalize these things and create these different devices. If you look at all the technology that runs these devices, it comes from the so-called most simplistic and most primitive places on the planet. But these are the most technologically advanced materials that drive these different devices.
Yeah, man, brother. I want to say, Toons, I know we can go on forever, though, brother. And I just want to say thank you for your time that you shared. It was such a huge pleasure to like meet you. You know,
thank you for
that. This is gonna continue to going on. So with your final words, advice, like what could you give to somebody watching this video that would just say, you know what, like this is like the blueprint, or maybe like how you might want to guide yourself being a person of color in graffiti?
I would just say keep looking, searching, seeking, finding. Keep looking, searching, seeking, and finding, and then apply it. You know, it's all inside of you. You don't have to inside of yourself. It's all inside of you. Just begin to trust yourself, listen to yourself, and manifest yourself.
Manifest yourself. Manifest yourself. Thank you for sharing that, though.
Hip-hop is the ultimate vehicle for self-expression and self-fulfillment, self-building. And I believe just utilize do it and be fruitful. And be dope.
And be dope. Yeah. Thank you, though, bro. I'm gonna come check out your studio, Tunes, when I get off the internet with you.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna get your information, and I want to look into the like you were saying, the airbrush, and I just want to check out your studio and see like how everything is. So where are you located, in downtown?
Nah, I'm in LA. I'm in South Bay.
Oh, South Bay. Going towards Torrance.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Compton area. So.
Oh, Compton area. Okay.
So
All right.
I'm good, but you know how it is. It's all good.
All right.
I welcome people to come down and check it out. I'm in the Gardena Compton area, so you know.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna have I'll have like a what's it called, official grand opening, you know, and you know, just welcome people to come down to the neighborhood, check out everything, and enjoy, you know, the neighborhood and everything like that, and all the creative things going on in due time. So just stay tuned, and you know, I'll keep you guys. I'll keep delivering the fresh goodies on from Art Gang Studios.
Thank you, though, brother, for that, and just have a blessed day. It's still early. You know, I know the Super Bowl's coming on. I don't know if you're gonna watch that, but I might go out to dinner.
It's Super Bowl right here, bro. So I want to just give it up to all the B-boys, B-girls, graffiti writers, MCs, DJs, pop lockers, beatboxers, all my people around the planet. You know where you are. I love you guys. And please keep giving me fresh stuff to see, because you guys inspire me to do all the fresh stuff that I do. Know that. Know that.
All right, brother.
Love you.
I'll be in touch with you, man. Thank you.
Take care, y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.